And now I would like 4 volunteers in the middle.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Let us have a piece that lasts 60 seconds, however you wish to understand that term, with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
The word peace.
That was wonderful. I can go home now. That was phenomenal to me. That was a piece. It held together. It was equal communication among all of you. You used all of your resources. It was really, really fascinating to me. I'd like to hear some of your reactions.
Oh, jeez.
I laid down on the ground. I was like, I'm going to try and be land, and I didn't know where I was going to go from that. So I was like, land. That was my thought. And then
I don't even know.
what you guys contributed.
I just honestly followed my impulses, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I felt of conducting, really.
It was as soon as Robert moved, it was the impulse.
Well, the story I built
engaged.
in my head, after you guys started engaging with the idea that I laid out, in my head, it was the beginning of the earth, the birth of life, and then it was the death and destruction, and the starting of a new beginning. So
I
that's
really
what
like the
thought.
ending
Yeah.
where me and it was all 3 of us, and we all kind of came together on that kind of long, continuous note, and when he slowly lowered himself to the ground, and then we just ended it right there. And the weird part was he was almost kind of in a similar position where he was before. So if we could have restarted it back, kind of like it was like Rob said, a new life, cycle of life.
It was a
Yeah.
very
Not to be too
strong
cheesy
ending.
about it.
What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I understood that. And I was the whole time I was thinking, Robert is evolutionary.
Again.
But yeah, I
Very earliest time.
I'll sing a reaction.
I thought it was fantastic. It was a really good use of sound. Like you all came together, and it was really great. And I was happy to watch it. It was fantastic.
Well, I know I had pleasure on.
Yeah.
I think that was the whole point. I thought we had fun.
Yeah.
There's really like no thinking involved.
Yeah,
You don't
Well,
know
the
what you're
interesting thing to
doing.
me, observing it, I mean, there was no thinking, but there was
Yeah.
a tremendous amount of structure.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating about this kind of work is that, all of those, I mean, there is a certain satisfaction to experiencing structure, obviously, which is why we like to go to symphonies and plays and stuff like that. But you guys were able, without saying a word to each other, to create something that has a structure and that has integrity and has a time course and uses your capacities. And is,
Actually, what I found the type of thinking that was, I did think a bit, but it was more like I thought quickly on my feet, and it was more just like body instinct reacting to whatever Sean was doing, or Zaz was doing, or what Robert was doing. I think when people say, "Oh, I didn't think about," it's like they didn't take that pause to really go, "Oh, what's he doing now? Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that." It's just
Exactly.
quicker thinking.
Exactly. Well, it's a different kind of thing. Yeah, it's a different kind of thing because, I mean, this is one of the things that's very interesting to me when you say that. because we often, especially in certain kinds of artistic disciplines as well as certain kinds of spiritual disciplines, people have some idea that, well, it's not good to think too much or something like that, which is, I mean, we do see how bad the world gets when people don't think enough, so it's not like thinking is a bad thing, but the kind of, when you were saying we weren't thinking, you were saying we weren't thinking in the sense of premeditated, verbal, labeling type of thinking, but you were thinking in the sense that you were thinking the way nature thinks. Okay. And I mean, it sort of segues, beautifully into one of the themes in my life that I'm so interested in. One of my jobs in life is to pass on the work of my mentor, Gregory Bateson, the anthropologist, biologist, philosopher who was interested in the psychological roots of the ecological crisis. And he said that our problem on this planet is that the way we think is different from the way nature thinks, and that we need to learn to think more like the way nature thinks. And so in microcosm, in this little group of 4 people, you were demonstrating that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, and then you.
Okay, no, I just, I'm thinking, as y'all were talking about thinking, I was actually thinking that I actually wasn't thinking. That when I was there, I honestly felt to create rather than to think of what should be created. I knew that something had to happen, and I'm trying to have an understanding of which type of thinking everyone's talking about, but I honestly felt it was just having pleasure. Like, if an artist creates an artwork without pleasure in it, it's not really art. It's actually ugliness. And so, like, here, finding pleasure, I think I want to say the word pleasure is a form of thinking, of just doing, pretty much. That's what I...
Play jour.
Exactly.
Pleasure is a form of thinking.
Yeah.
I like that.
First of all, while you were talking, you brought up the idea of the way that nature thinks, which reminded me of near the beginning of Free Play, you talked about the different names that people give to inspiration, to the muse, to genius, and one of them was that verbal force, the idea that inspiration is something that is of the earth, that is natural, and we just have to find it. And I love that you've expanded on this, because that, after all, I mean, we're here next to probably one of the most beautiful spots on campus, and when you look at that and you ignore the buildings behind it, there is a different sort of unexplainable beauty in the way that the moss is growing on these rocks. Because you can look at the rocks and say, oh yeah, they've been well placed, but if you look at the moss, you go, that's also well placed, but no one placed that there. I just like that idea. What I was going to say originally was it's a shame that Alex isn't here, because after you guys finished that, the one thing that just went through my entire body was, I thought, like, I love you guys. Like, this is fantastic. And I thought, you guys created love. And the way that you were able to do that was because you walked into it without fear. And that is something I think we should remember as part of the topic we left the lecture with.